Alright everyone, this is not a drill. Andor Season 2 is about to release. Yes, we can be very happy that the best Star Wars show is getting more content, but do you remember all 12 episodes we had in Season 1? Yes, indeed, 12. Not the usual 8 like The Mandalorian, Ahsoka, Skeleton Crew, Acolyte, or the, 6 or 7 episodes that Obi-Wan and Book of Boba Fett had, the bunch of contrarians that they are. No, 12 quite long episodes, actually. Well, just in case you haven't had time to rewatch Season 1, which you really should, but you won't be able to right now, here is what happened in Season 1. So Cassian is looking for his sister, and he goes into a brothel. Wait a moment, a brothel in Star Wars? Yeah, this show is very adult. But he's looking for his sister, who he left behind on Kenari like 25 years ago, is dead. Is definitely dead. Most likely dead. Cassian, I don't know why you're looking for her in a brothel on this random planet, but okay. While he's talking to one of the women who works there, 2 guards see him and they're like, "Oi, that's our woman, don't talk to her." And then Cassian is like, "Well, she just likes me more, not my fault." But the guards are still salty, they follow him, and then, kind of by accident, Cassian kills them. So, because of that, that triggers everyone to come after him. Syril wants to bring him to justice because he's one of the fellow guards that he shut down. Luthen wants him for his rebellion, and Maarva wants to get him when he's a kid named Cassian in the past. Yeah, there are flashbacks in this season where we see Cassian as a kid, and at one point a girl gets shot from his tribe, and it's very sad. But anyway, Cassian is the MacGuffin of the first 3 episodes, pretty much. Eventually, Luthen is the lucky winner. Thank you for connecting them, Bix. Also, sorry, Bix, for what happens to you later. Your boyfriend had a quicker and less painful end.
There are some things far more frightening than death.
So Luthen takes Cassian off Ferrix and they head for Aldani, where they meet with a team of people who are preparing a raid on an Imperial base. One of them is the Waif from Game of Thrones, the other is the Thing from the Fantastic Four, and then we have Nemik. Y'all respect Nemik. Nemik is the reason that Cassian becomes a rebel, so he's kind of important, even though he dies. But yeah, they're all there to pull off a heist during a very cool event.
Did you see it? It's so beautiful. All the colors, it's like a rainbow.
So after a couple of days of training, they go to the dam.
Damn!
And they manage to pull off the heist, even though a lot of the team dies. But then Cassian decides to fuck off to Miami to celebrate. Why Miami? Because that's what the show went with, y'all. Anyway, while this is happening, we go to Coruscant, actually, and we see that Luthen has like this fancy shop, which is really just a way to talk to Mon Mothma and other rebels in secret. Oh right, yeah, Mon Mothma is in this. Yeah, I mean, she has an entire storyline. But after the Aldani heist, she comes into a shop and she's like, "Oh my god, how do you defy the Empire like that?" But come on, Mon, we all know you like that one. Secretly, you're thinking, "Oh my god, he's defying the Empire like that, I'm getting..." And she likes it so much that she starts to plan something herself with an old friend of hers. Now, does she have to sell her daughter to get what she wants? Yes. I mean, kind of to get out of trouble, but yes. Also, does she have to frame her husband? Yes. She is not messing around. She is, like, doing what needs to be done to get her rebellion going. And, yeah, there's actually an entire family that she has. Actually, one of the rebels from Aldani turns out to be her cousin. Honestly, this entire storyline with Mon Mothma, I did not expect to see, but...
A surprise, to be sure, but a welcome one.
But the incident on Ferrix leaves Syril and his men to be decommissioned by Blevin. Syril gets sent back to Mrs. Vick on Coruscant, but Syril will not rest and he is absolutely determined to find Cassian. So much so that in his new job he sends so many inquiries that he gets the attention of Dedra Meero. Wait a moment, Blevin? Dedra? Yes, we see the Imperial Security Bureau, or ISB, led by Qyburn. It is honestly really cool to see this storyline as well, especially when Yularen makes a cameo. Remember Yularen from A New Hope, Clone Wars, Rebels? Yeah, he's like the big boss of them all. But Dedra is actually very interested to see what happened on Ferrix. She starts to investigate, and eventually that makes her in charge of the Morlana sector, despite the fact that Blevin is in charge of the Morlana sector, and he was trying to frame her and expose her, but that didn't work, so Dedra is better than you, fuck you, Blevin. Once Dedra gets to Ferrix, he thinks that torturing Bix is the best way to make her talk about Cassian and Luthen. What did I say about Bix getting a very bad thing happen to her that's worse than death? Yeah, this is it. This is honestly terrible, and it's not helped by this sadistic fucker that we see. My god, this is like the worst guy that I've seen in Star Wars Empire history. But however intent Dedra is on finding Cassian, you could just look in your own prison, because while Cassian was in Miami, he got himself captured and he got sent to Narkina 5, where he's actually working on parts to make the Death Star. And his supervisor is none other than Andy Serkis. Just Andy Serkis. It's not a CGI character for a change, no, it's just Andy Serkis. That's kind of amazing, honestly. But the prisoners learn that they're never getting out of there because of a fuck-up of the Empire, so they come up with a way to escape, and honestly, it's an amazing scene. They're all like, one way out. One way out! One way out! One way out! One way out! But then it turns out that Andy Serkis can't swim. Oh my god, I
Can't swim!
No, why? But Cassian does get out with his new BFF Melshi. Remember Melshi from Rogue One?
Melshi, talk to me.
Ready. Standing by.
Once they're in Miami, they decide to split up once Cassian hears that his mom died. Not his real mom, his adoptive mom. And they have a funeral to attend. Now, to be fair, the funeral is kind of a setup to draw out Cassian out of hiding, and it does work, but Cassian is smart enough to avoid capture or getting killed by Luthen. But despite the Empire's efforts to contain the situation, they can't. All the people of Ferrix come out because they have to honor a president of the Daughters of Ferrix. There's a huge ceremony. Maarva gives an amazing speech that B2 shows, and the Empire is like, oh no, we can't have this. But everyone is like, okay, let's fucking do this. Let's rebel against the Empire. The scene is absolutely amazing. Absolute chaos, by the way. And in the chaos, Cassian manages to come and free Biggs. Also, Syril is there, but he can't really think about Cassian anymore. He's only thinking about one person.
I just died on your arms tonight. There must have been something you said.
But Cassian manages to get out of there with Biggs, and he sends her away, I don't know where. We'll probably get to see that in Season 2. Anyway, at the end, Cassian goes with Luthen because he's like,
I rebel.
And he's all ready to become a part of the Rebel Alliance. At least I assume so. Might take a couple of more years because Season 2 takes place over a couple of years, but we know where he ends up in Rogue One. And there you have it. That's the recap of Season 1 of Andor. If you want to see more extensive reviews for my videos, then I reviewed all of that on my channel. There's a link in the description, and I'll see you guys later.